Hello everybody and welcome to our science experiment for this week. If you were in the Story Detectives group, you'll know that our story this week was called The Giant's Loo Roll. And in it we talked about wasting paper. So we don't want to waste paper because paper is a really good resource and we use it and it's made out of trees. So the more we use our paper, the more trees are knocked down. But one thing that we can do is recycle paper. So today we're going to have a go at doing our own recycled paper. So what I've got in this box is some paper that I've shredded. You don't need to shred yours, you just need to squish it up. So Miss Jodie and Miss Christy are here as my very glamorous assistants. So Miss Jodie is going to grab a handful of the paper and put it in a big pot.
Is that enough?
That is plenty. In fact, yeah, go and soak, and then that needs to be soaked in water, just any old cold water. So just pour some water in there. Thank you. See, it's taking two of them to do this. It's a complicated process. So that is going to soak in there for about half an hour.
Does it need to be covered?
No, it doesn't need to be covered. It just needs cold water and it'll soak for half an hour. Then, when it's had a good soak, we're going to blend it. So you can put it back up here, Miss Jodie.
Oh, sorry.
And
I'm just picking up
that needs to be switched on. Now we've just got a hand blender. So hands out the way. This is something where you're going to need an adult to help you. So hold on to the pan so it doesn't all move around, and we're going to blend it. Ooh. And the blending will make it cool. So it's just like when we found out about how we recycle paper really had factories do it. They wash their paper, mix it with water. They probably add a few extra things like stabilizers and starch, but we can just use water. And how's it going? Let's have a look at how this blending. Oh, look at that! It is all blended and turned into pulp. So that's all you need to do. So we can take that away. Now here is some pulp that I made earlier. I feel like a Blue Peter presenter. So this, now I'll show you what we've got. So we've got the pulp that we made earlier. So as you can see, it's just mashed up paper. It looks a little bit like, I don't know, bad mashed potato. Porridge, yes, it looks like porridge, exactly.
Grey porridge.
So this is going to turn into our paper when it's dry. So all we need to do now is flatten it out. So what I've got here is a piece of mesh. And I got this from the shop in the plaza called Treasure House, next to the dancing shop. They have some artwork supplies there, and I got this, but you could have an experiment, see what you can find in your house that might work. If you can see this up close, it's got little tiny holes in. I've actually tried with a few other things. I had a bit of a go doing this last night, and I found this the most successful. It needs to be something quite flexible and thin, but it needs to have holes in so that we can drain some of the water away. I'll tell you a couple of the other things that I tried. I did try putting holes, in fact I'll get it for you at the bin, this one was a failure. I tried to put holes in the bottom of a tin to see if that would work, but it didn't really work. And I tried some silk, but that didn't work very well either. So I would recommend that you get some of this net mesh kind of stuff. On one of the videos I watched, it said you can use the sort of mesh that you use like on a screen for a window to stop bugs coming in. So if you could get hold of any of that, but I think this is probably the easiest to get from that shop in the plaza. So then all you need to do is spoon some of your mush out onto your paper. Now actually it needs to be quite thin, so you only need a couple of scoops of that.
Yeah. And
then smoosh it out so that
use your
nice
hand.
and thin. You can actually, to make it smoosh a bit easier, you can put a bit more water on if you like. So a little bit more of the water will spread it out a bit thinner. Yeah, use your hands. It's a fun thing because although it feels quite messy on your fingers, it's quite nice. How does it feel, Miss Christy?
Wet,
Wet.
but it's not too messy.
No, it's not too messy because it's actually just paper. So it's actually, it feels quite soft really, doesn't it? Now, after you've done that, and obviously if you have a bigger tray, we've got this like sort of baking tray, maybe you could try a bigger piece of paper.
Enough, or do you need some more? A bit more?
I think a little tiny bit more water would make that perfect. Now what I did with this was I left it to dry overnight. Some videos that I've watched show that you can do different methods. You can actually try and sponge some of the water off, or you can try and iron it at this stage.
One more for luck.
One more for luck. But I think probably the easiest thing to do is to just leave that overnight and see if a lot of the water will evaporate off. And I'll show you what happened when I left mine overnight, because here is one that I did last night, and I will show you now. After I'd left it overnight, I then took it off the mesh and I ironed it. So where's the iron? Don't iron it directly. Could you get another one of those towels? I put another towel over the top and put it on top. So again, you're going to need an adult to help you. And I just ironed it to get the last of the water out. And actually, even after overnight, and even after ironing a little bit already today, it still is not bone dry. So you might have to do that quite a few times and change the towel each time. But when you've done that a few times, you should have found that you've made yourself a piece of paper. Now, as I say, this is still not quite bone dry, so I wouldn't use that to write on just yet. But I think if I left that for a couple more hours, or I gave it another iron between two towels, it would work, and that would be a nice piece of paper. Now, it's a bit raggedy, but it's kind of cool because you've got all these little speckles in, because that's all the bits of paper that you've recycled. So you could use this to make a card, you could use this to write a note, and once you get the hang of this, you can use this to make art supplies. I've seen some lovely videos online where you can make little recycled paper books, and I will link you to some of those on the Google Classroom. Okay, so thank you very much, ladies. And I would look forward to seeing if you guys have a try and make some recycled paper of your own. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.